Okay, you guys voted and you chose for my next upload to be this service, which is a mushroom blonde hair color. So if you guys want to see the application, formulation, all of that stuff, keep on watching. For this service, I'm going to be using Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with 20 volume and Olaplex. To start off the service, I'm going to be doing our standard hairline foils that I always like to do. I'm going to be packing in some more baby lights, a little bit extra tighter and a little bit further back because she does want to be brighter. I'll have to insert a picture of what we normally do for her color. She normally likes to be super icy, like coolest blonde possible, which we're able to achieve normally previous to last fall when she colored her hair darker. So that leads us to now working on our, I think this is like the third service that we're on, trying to go lighter and cooler again. So that's why I'm trying to do a little bit more foils, a little bit finer around the face. That way we can get her highlights extra bright and try to brighten her up a lot more, because last time she was stuck at like a very caramel tone. So we're definitely trying to get past that today. Remember that when you're lifting your clients that have naturally dark hair, that low and slow is the way to go. If you're using 30 or 40 volume, those are stronger developers, but they tend to die out a lot faster. So just think, like, if it takes you 30 minutes or an hour per bowl of bleach, like that first 20 minutes probably has the most like impact on lift. So the rest of that hour is the lightener kind of dying off. So that's why sometimes people only lift to like a level 8. So I like using 20 volume because it just has a nice, slow, steady lift and it doesn't die off as fast. I do have a lot of clients that come to me and say I can never get anybody to lift me past this level, orange or brassiness or whatever. And it's usually like a level 7 or 8. And you guys have to really make sure you're taking your time with your clients. Like for her, she came in at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and I didn't book anybody else for the rest of the day because I want to make sure that I'm giving my client enough time to reapply to her hair, to use as many bowls of bleach, to wipe the bleach off, to reapply if I need to let it sit for 3 hours if it needs to, and charge accordingly. Don't feel like you have to have your client in and out in 2 hours or have your application done in 45 minutes. This full application took me about 3 hours, which I know that doesn't sound like a lot because, we were really only doing like a partial. We're not going in and like doing all over her whole hair. But around the hairline usually takes me about 45 minutes in itself. So, and then I have to go refill a whole nother bowl of bleach. So one of the biggest things that people say to me is, oh my gosh, thank you so much for talking about being a slow application, because they always feel rushed. Depending on where you're working at, if you're working at like a chop shop, sorry, I call it a chop shop, but I used to work at a few where they're like in and out, in and out, in and out. We just want you guys to like quantity over quality. And so they're kind of rushing you to like have higher, like have a higher rate per day, have more money per day, because that's going to determine like your hourly wage. And I'm really sorry for that stress that you guys have to put up with, because man, that is not fair. If I could highly recommend anywhere to go to, if you have a JC Penney anywhere local to you, 100% go work at JC Penney. Their commission is like, I was making so much money when I worked at JC Penney, and I had the best manager because she was very helpful in helping us be successful. She would sit down and talk to all of us individually about like a plan, how to reach out to clients, like goals that we can hit, all of those things. And maybe all managers aren't like that. Maybe we were just lucky. But I would assume the program that she uses is probably based off of what JCPenney as a whole uses. So just like small plug, but definitely check out a JCPenney. Their commission is really, really good. I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, be it so. Really quickly, so I'm gonna go through and do her money piece. You can see that I'm taking these first two foils are gonna be really fine baby lights, and I want them to connect to the side. The third foil that I put in is going to be a back-combed weave. She wants to be brighter. She doesn't necessarily really care about a money piece, but if she wants to be brighter all over, the main place that counts is where she sees it right along her hairline and right on her face. So I want to make sure that I'm giving her that extra brightness in that area. So that's why I'm doing some really fine baby lights, because the finer and thinner the foil, the better lift you're going to get. That's also another reason why you might not be getting good lift in your clients, is your sections are too thick. If you have a weave and you can't see through it, then you're probably not going to get good lift. You're probably going to be stuck at like a level 8, where all of my lift, like my client right now, my weaves, I understand that they are bigger, but I'm gonna have to go back through and like reapply a few times. So just know that ahead of time, like I am aware. But normally when I have clients that have darker hair and they want to go a lot lighter, I don't do any larger foils that like the hair on the foil, I can see through it. So make sure you can see through to your foils to get the best lift possible. Okay, so for her money piece, because again, she wants to be brighter, I am doing them a little bit more fine, but she kind of wants her hair also to be able to be low maintenance. Like, how do you be really blonde or do a lot of blonde, but still be low maintenance at the same time? I do really fine weaves, like the 2 fine weaves on the hairline, and then I do back comb foils after that. So that way that back comb foil kind of lays on top of the hair that's right on the hairline. So it still softens it up a little bit more instead of being like just a big chunky like money piece. That back combed weave will help soften up those foils directly on the hairline. And when I'm done with these 2 foils, you'll see that I'm pulling her hair down. I'm watching to see how it lays. I want to see how much does it really cover up the hair on her forehead, because do I need to go through and do another one like straight across? So pay attention, like always pull your client's hair down when you're in the middle of foiling and see how is that hair going to lay and how is it going to cover up the foils that you're doing underneath, because you can always add more on top of it if you need to. Okay, so here I'm pulling her hair on top and it kind of covers those underneath hairs quite a bit. So I'm going to go straight across where she parts her hair in the center, and I'm going to over direct this because I want this to be a little bit more of a shadowy foil. It has a back comb, it's a weave, so it's going to be a little bit rootier in this foil application because of the over direction and because of the back comb. So this is going to create a little bit more softness and give her the brightness as the hair falls down, but just at the root area on her money piece directly at her hairline, she's not going to look like she has like a big chunky like streak right at the front of her face, because that back comb and weave and over direction is going to help soften it just a little bit more at the root area. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Was I talking about something and then I forgot to finish it? You ADD, you guys, I tell you. Like, sorry if I started saying something I forgot. Like, remind me in the comments if I did. I'll try to get back to you about it. I wish you guys could hear this part of the conversation, but there's music going, so I can't play it. I'm asking her, does she want to keep the same size of the pieciness that we had in her hair? And does she like the amount of brightness that we have? And she's saying, yes, she likes the pieciness and she likes the brightness of it, but she doesn't feel like there's enough. And the reason why this is an important conversation is because somebody could hear what she's saying, that it's not enough, and take that as being like, it's not bright enough, or she wants like bigger pieces because the pieciness is too fine and subtle or whatever. So I asked her, so you like the pieciness, you liked the color, but you just felt like it was too dark? And she said yes. Because she liked the size of everything, she didn't necessarily want more bold pieces or brighter pieces, which somebody could like misinterpret that. So I said, so you're feeling like it's still too dark because you have too much of your natural subsection in between? And she said yes. So make sure that you're really talking to your clients throughout the whole service, because I could have taken that as like, oh, it's not enough, she wants to go brighter, or she wants to go more bold, and that would be wrong. The placement and the color was fine. She just felt like there was too much of her natural still showing through. You'll notice in some of these foils, I'm doing much thicker sections because she does want to feel like she has a little bit more of the lighter color. I'm doing some heavier foils underneath her hair. She has literally, her hair is so thick, and I want to give her the brightness that she wants. We are on a budget, and so I really have to be careful with what I'm doing, because I have a tendency to really overwork myself and do so much foils. And if somebody comes in and they're like, oh, my budget is like $400, and I just have them for the rest of the day, like this has happened previously with other clients, where I'll be like, oh, and then I'll overwork myself, and then I'll do like an 8-hour color on like a $300 or $400 budget. And that's not the client's fault, that's my fault. But then I'm over, like my hand starts hurting really bad. I've been doing hair for like 20 years. And like, I'm getting to the point where like, okay, if somebody gives me a budget, I truly have to stick with that budget, because I'm using way more product. My hand is really starting to hurt and cramp up or whatever. So I have to stick to and respect the budget that they're giving me. I obviously, like, I'm sure they'd be happy for me to do more. But like, I just know at the end, like, I'm not going to be able to work the next day because my hands are really stiff and can't move. So for her hair, because I can't go as heavy-handed as I normally would with the budget she gives me, which her budget is respectful. A lot of people come in and they're like, oh, my budget's $200, and they want like a $400, $600 hair color. She's very respectful. Her budget is $400, and I usually do more than $400 of work, because like, she never gives me this huge like unreasonable service that she wants on like not a reasonable budget. So I usually don't have, like, normally I would have gone way over, but my hand just bothers me so much that I can't. So the reason why, long story short, the reason why I'm doing my foils the way that I'm doing them now, you'll see me take these like thicker sections and like more of a slice in between my weaves, is because I want to make sure that I'm giving her more of the color that she's wanting to see, and a heavier amount, not a brighter amount. And she still wants to, blend really nicely. So we're not necessarily going in super bold, but you'll see underneath like the veil of the hair that's going to fall on top of this, these pieces I am doing much heavier and much more bold because they're underneath. So when I get closer to the top of her hair, I'm still taking larger subsections here because I can't pack in so many foils because I'm trying to stay within the budget, or, you know, stay around the budget, even though I know I'm probably going to go over. So because of that, these foils I'm taking are a lot bigger of a section. And then I'm still going to leave like 1/2 inch of a subsection in between. But the closer that I get like over the crown of her head, the closer I get to a part, I'm going to be taking less and less of a subsection, and I'm going to be doing finer weaves the closer I get to like the top overlay of the hair. That way it still looks like the similar blended, subtle, easy grow out color that we've normally been doing, but she's gonna feel a lot brighter, and that not a lot brighter, but she's gonna feel like the color's a lot heavier because underneath is gonna start showing through. She's not gonna have as much of her natural color, but the top is still gonna be more blended than like the underneath parts of the hair. That was really long-winded, and I hope it made sense. Okay, bye. In case anybody asks, the reason why I'm going back and forth, I'm not just going up and doing one side and then going and then starting the other side. The reason why I'm going back and forth is because I want to make sure I'm staying even. I cannot tell you how much I stress over watching some people do hair, and they will go up and do like foil, weave, backcomb foil, a subsection, a larger subsection, a weave, a smaller subsection, and they do the whole side in baby lights, and then they go to the other side, and then I'm like, how on earth are you going to remember what you just did? That stresses me out. Unless they just have like a set pattern that they do every time, but I doubt it. I mean, maybe, I don't know. So for me, I like to go through, know that I'm starting at the same point on my client, know that I'll do maybe like 1 or 2 foils, and then I'll flip and do the other side. And it's because I want to make sure that I'm leaving the same subsection size in between. I want to remember if I just did like a backcombed weave, a backcombed slice, a backcombed weave, or did I do 2 weaves or weave in 2 slices, or whatever the pattern is. So if I just work in 3s and then switch over to the next side, 3 at the most, then I know that I'm going to make sure that my client has an even outcome, because I cannot tell you, there's been times before where I pull out a foil and I'm like, oh my God, that part has a slice and the other part on the other side of the head has a weave, and it gives me anxiety and I can't deal with it. So this is why I like to go back and forth. So when people ask me like, how come you don't section your clients off? This is why, because it stresses me out. I feel like I need to call my YouTube channel The Anxious Hairstylist or something like that, because I be stressing out over these clients of mine. And it's good for them because it makes me be more meticulous in the work that I do, because I'm so paranoid. Like, oh my God, are they going to notice that one little spot in the very back of their head underneath at the nape of their neck? Probably not, but I'm going to go to bed panicking over it if I don't fix it. So you're welcome. It just hit me that I've been talking about like my client been wanting to go brighter, but she doesn't necessarily want to. She still wants to be low maintenance and rooty. So I'm trying to get as bright as we can go. knowing that I'm going to go through with a root shadow and blend her roots so that she grows out softer. And also that back comb that we do is going to help soften it up anyways. So no matter how bright we go and no matter how bright we're able to get, that back comb is still going to soften that brightness up. And then also we're going to blend it out with a root shadow. Now that we're getting closer to like the top of her head and coming over the corners, you're going to notice that I'm going to start doing smaller subsections because I want her to feel like she has a heavier amount. And what she did say was that she felt like she had too much of her natural color. So I'm going to go through and start doing some more finer foils. I was doing like the heavier foils underneath because all of her hair was going to fall on top of it. But I want to make sure to have like as clean of an application, as blended as possible. So in order to do that, I feel like I need to go through and start doing more baby lights through the top section of like right around where her part is, like probably an inch or two on either side. And that's going to help us get the best blend. So I'm going to finish up these foils in the back, and then when I get back up to the top, you'll notice that my subsections are a lot less, and probably also that my foils are becoming a lot thinner and finer of weaves and slices. Please go through and make sure you are preserving the integrity of your client's hair. You'll notice through every single foil that I'm doing, I'm going through, doing her retouch color, then I'm taking the brightest, even if it's a sliver of blonde, I'm taking the sliveriest little pieces and making sure I'm pulling those pieces out. And then I'm bringing the bleach through the rest of that section, but then I'm leaving the ends out because even though if they get bleach on them right now, it's not going to damage them. But if they sit for as long as their hair is going to process, that very well might damage her hair. So make sure, like right there, how I pulled those little slivery pieces out. And then I'm going through and then I'm looking down in this section again, getting those extra sliver pieces of blonde. So that's why this foil takes a lot. This foil took so long to do because every foil I was literally going through and weaving out the old previous blonde that we had done. So just make sure that you're taking care of your client's hair. I never really have clients that have breakage or anything because I'm making sure that I'm going through and weaving out all of those like bright blonde hairs. There's times where I see people just take bleach and slap it on, no matter how small those blonde little hairs are. We want to make sure that we are not damaging our client's hair, because that just makes us look bad in the long run because now their hair feels trash or they have all these small broken pieces everywhere or whatever. So just make sure you're taking care of your client's hair through these services. Okay, we're coming up on the last foils. Thank you, Jesus. We've been here for a while applying and running the bleach through and whatever. So we're going to let her process, but that doesn't mean I get to walk away and go have a break or anything. That just means I have to start working on another part of her hair and check other areas of her hair. Because it's been a couple of hours since we've started this whole application, I want to go through and check the underneath foils because I can guarantee that they're probably really blonde. And because of some of the thicker sections that I've been taking, I'm pretty sure that I need to reapply and make sure that we're busting through those level 7, 8 caramely tones. So I didn't really show it in this video, but I did go through and paint through just some of the ends because just with the leftover bleach, because it's pretty weak at this point. So it's okay to go through some of those ends and paint, try to brighten them up because the bleach is not strong enough to really do anything. So look at that lift. You got some nice lift. This is why I love Schwarzkopf Blonde Me and this is just 20 volume. Because this is a powerful bleach and it will get you a lot of lift. You do have to worry sometimes about it. It does swell quite a bit. What I do to prevent it from swelling as much as I can is I'll add a little bit of water, like not a lot, like just a few like little drips of water to my bowl of bleach. And that usually that kind of thins it out a little bit more and it prevents it from swelling as bad as it normally would. So I'm going to go through these foils because now at this point, her roots are brighter than the ends of her hair. So now I need to make sure that we safely go through and lighten the ends of her hair by dragging the bleach down off of her root area because we don't need it to continue processing. and pull it down through the ends and then reapply if we need to anywhere. Again, this is just like, this isn't strong bleach yet. This is still just like the 20 volume that I've been using, and I'm reapplying it if I need to, and then pulling the bleach off in areas where it's completely done. But you'll see in some of these spaces that her ends are kind of warm still. So those are pieces that we're going to go back through and reapply to. But for right now, we're going to pull all of these hairline foils out because these are, her hair around the hairline is so fine. You do not want to let this over process because it will melt. So you need to make sure that you pull these foils out, pull out her money piece if it's finished. And I'm just going to pin back all of her hair, pull the bleach off, and run it through the ends to refreshen up and brighten through some of the ends where it's still a little brassy. But look at this lift, you guys. Like, I'm telling you, 20 volume. That's it. Like, literally, I haven't put her under the heat. This is just immediately after I'm done with my application, I'm going through and pulling these foils out. So, like, I think you'll see, oh no, I guess, no, I got pretty even lift. Do I need to run any bleach through the ends? You'll notice, like, okay, see, here I go, and I'm starting to, like, re-hit any of those level 8s. Again, this is still, like, the old bleach that I've been using, the 20 volume, because I don't want to cause any damage through the ends of her hair. So I'm using, like, a weaker bleach just to try to blast through it for, like, the last 30 minutes that it's going to process. Okay, she has been processing now for quite a while, and this is the only time where I ever use anything stronger than 20 volume. I'm using 30 volume right now, and you'll see this area that is just not lifting. It's just stuck. And so I'm going to go through with 30 volume, and I'm going to apply it in some of these extra stubborn areas, and we're going to try to blast through these brassiness, these caramely tones, just like the last 20 minutes of processing time. And then I'm also going to go through these ends and reapply that 30 volume just because it hasn't really lifted much with that old bleach, which I knew it wasn't going to do much, but I thought it was maybe going to do a little bit more than what it had done. So I'm going through and I'm just reapplying 30 volume, sorry, over all of this other stuff that I previously had. It's not going to sit for very long, so I'm not worried about it if it's going to cause any damage because her hair feels like it's in pretty good condition. There's just some extra warm spots that we need to blast through, and this is the only time where I personally will use 30 volume, just if there's some areas where it's being stubborn, and then I will put a towel over the top of their head and just let them finish processing that way. So at this point in the service, I've probably gone through her hair like 4 different times, checking her foils. Do I need to reapply? Basically, as soon as I've gone through and done my rounds and I've done my reapplication, because that takes about 20 minutes, then as soon as I'm done, I'm just going right back through again and starting my second, third, and like 4th round of checking her foils. So it's pretty much go, go, go. I'm not really stopping her application. Just making sure that we have even lifting throughout the whole service and reapplying when we need to. Okay, so I'm going to pull her foils out and wash her hair, and then I'm going to let her sit with an Olaplex treatment for about 10 minutes while I go mix her first toner, which is 9-1 and 10-1 from Agora Vibrance by Schwarzkopf. And I'm going to apply this first all over her hairline. Normally, I would not do her hairline first in her money piece because that's usually where it's more porous. but she has so much warmth in her hair that I really want to try and get as cool as we can with this 9 and 10 one, and I just did half and half. So the reason why I like to use Schwarzkopf Agora Vibrance, especially for clients that have darker hair that pull a little bit warmer, is because these toners really kick the brass out. These ashier tones, like, you'll like, even she was shocked at the very end. She was like, oh my gosh, it's so much brighter and a lot cooler than what I was thinking it was. And I told her too, I said, I'm gonna go through with an ashier tone, but I don't have intentions on it actually being ashy. I just want it to try and tame down the warmth as much as possible. So I was actually really pleasantly surprised at how much it was able to cool down her hair, and she was too. So if you guys haven't used Schwarzkopf Agora Vibrance for toning, I highly recommend. It's their ashy tones. You got to be careful with them because they can really grab if you're not careful. But I really like them. They do a really good job of toning the hair. Probably another thing that I could mention about the Agora Vibrance for why I want to use them for a root shadow color. So have you ever gone through and done like a root shadow and you feel like you can see through the toner to through the blonde still? So there's some toners that I use, I don't want to say them, where I'll use it and it doesn't really cover very well. I feel like this Agora Vibrance has such good coverage that if somebody wants like a really soft hint of a root shadow, then sure, there's other ones that I'll use. But for the color that we're doing today, like this mushroom Bronde color, like we definitely want to deepen her root area and really cover up any of the harsh lines that might be existing from the slices that we did, even though the back comb and all, that's supposed to soften it a little bit more. But I really love this Agora Vibrance for that reason. So for her root shadow, I'm going to do 5-1 and 7-0, just like half and half again of the ashy level 5 and then a natural 7, just because I don't want it to deposit like too ashy and then it looks muddy. So adding that neutral in there will help give it some, help it grab a little bit better. So first I'm going to go through, and also no, I did not rinse out her lighter color. I'm just applying this straight on top of it. So I'm going to go through, hit her roots. I'm going to start my application for the root shadow in the back because it will darken up a little bit more. And that's kind of where we are a little bit darker more naturally anyways, at the back crown area. So I'm going to go through and do all of her roots, probably like 2 inches on her roots, and then not around her hairline. And then after it's done processing, probably for like the last 5 minutes, that's when you saw me like comb it through the rest of her hair, just to help cool down the rest of the warmth that might be existing, or even the blonde that we did, to help give it that extra impact of those ashy tones that we're wanting. So here's her color after the root shadow, after the toner, and you can see she does have like that bold muddy piece kind of right in front there. You can see it stand out. And then it's a little bit softer, like right on her hairline, just because she has some of those like baby hairs. I'm really happy with the way that this blend turned out. And I was really happy with how much we were able to cool down all of that warmth. And she was really happy about it too. So you'll see as we continue brushing her hair, combing her hair, like I'm so happy with how bright we were able to get her hair, and it still feels nice and healthy. So her hair definitely is like a cool level 9, which that's definitely a lot lighter than what we were thinking that we were going to be able to go. So I love the way this definitely looks like a mushroomy, like mushroom Bronde color. It's not quite bright enough to be blonde, even though we were able to lighten her up a lot more, but she's definitely like a cooler mushroomy Bronde color. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this video. Look at all that dimension that we were able to do in the crown area. It looks so pretty with those ribbons of color coming through. And look, she was like so happy with how bright we were able to get it through the ends again, because man, that old color was definitely stubborn. So here's her before, and then here's her after. Look at how pretty it is. I'm glad we painted through those ends and got them brighter. And then still nice and blended through the root area, but nice and bright at the front of the face. Look at how pretty. Look at how pretty that mushroomy, like cool, just a small hint of warmth that is. Like, so pretty. I love the way that this turned out. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Oh, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Modern Blonde by Christy. And this service was about 5.5 hours and her budget was $400. So $400 was the total. I know sometimes you guys are interested in like the overall time and cost of the service. So there you guys have it. I'll see you guys on the next one.